Did King Von go to heaven or hell? A final judgment on the life of a Chicago street king. They called him a serial killer, a demon.
He was a powerful demon. He had many followers like Lucifer.
On November 6, 2020, Chicago gangster King Von was shot dead at the age of 26, leaving behind a legacy of terror that made his enemies feel relieved. Was he a killer? Allegedly. But King Von was much more than the murders the world tried to pin on him. He was a man who made his own rules and walked with a power that no one could control. But when a life like King Von's comes to an end, the streets are no longer the ones passing judgment. The question becomes eternal. How do you judge a man's soul? Most people count the good and bad things he did, but it's not always that simple. Let's look at the truth about King Von's life and judge his soul. Is there a heaven for a gangster, or did his body count condemn him to hell?
Do you believe that Von went to heaven or hell?
Von is in hell right now.
Dayvon Bennett, better known as King Von, was born on August 9th, 1994 in Chicago, Illinois, bathed in big Leo energy. He was raised mostly by his mother in the Parkway Gardens housing project on Chicago's South Side. After a series of gang-related executions, this area later became infamously known as O Block. Introduced to the neighborhood gang, the Black Disciples, a teenage King Von immersed himself in a violent brotherhood. These teens taught each other the rules of surviving the streets, carrying guns, and committing armed robberies just to feed their families. This became their survival skill set. Life didn't present them with unlimited options, so this is what they knew how to do to survive. Over time, these robberies escalated into murders, fueled by a need for respect and some sense of honor in a world that seemed indifferent to their existence. These kids waged a war against their neighbors that would last nearly a decade. One by one, King Von watched his brothers fall victim to the streets. Before he was old enough to vote, King Von had lost so many of his friends to gun violence that his heart turned to stone. Instead of folding into his pain, King Von became the armor for his friends. He made it his mission to honor their lives by avenging their deaths. King Von intentionally terrorized his enemies and his community. And as his body count began to rise, he would hop on social media and joke about it.
They knew what Von was into. They knew what type of animal he was. Like, this dude is a killing.
That little kid is demonic,
They
bro.
called him a serial killer. But why is that true? Y'all let this nerdy white boy from England give a black man a label and y'all just accepted it and then repeated it over and over again like he was your leader? He ain't never even been to Chicago except for on Google Street View. King Von is not a serial killer, and there's no reason to place him in that category with those weirdos like Jeffrey Dahmer. He's a real serial killer. He has dismembered victims and then ate them. King Von wasn't eating nobody from 63rd. What about Ted Bundy? He's a real serial killer. He killed women and kept their heads in his apartment. The only head King Von got was from a stripper bit. What about John Wayne Gacy, a real serial killer? He murdered little boys and kept them under his house and pretended to be normal by volunteering in his community. King Von never pretended to be anything other than what he was, a street king from O Block, and he was proud of it. And Freddy Krueger, he's a real serial killer. He used razor blades, gloves to murder teenagers in their dreams. King Von was in plenty of ladies' dreams, all right, but the only thing he was murdering was that Ooh, daddy. Being a serial killer is all about violence, and street violence, which Von was a part of, grows out of conflict. Serial killing grows out of obsession. Serial killers are loners who are isolated and creepy, and King Von had lots of friends and hoes. Now let's look at the kill count. Jeffrey Dahmer had 17 confirmed victims. Ted Bundy had 30 confirmed victims. John Wayne Gacy had 33 confirmed victims. And Freddy Krueger had at least 20 confirmed victims. How many victims did Dayvon Bennett have? 0 confirmed victims. King Von is not a serial killer. He was a true Chicago street king, and he played his position with excellence. He never asked, "What do you think I should do?" He never needed anyone's reassurance. He knew that no one could choose what was best for him because that was his responsibility. And no matter what came from any decision he made, he could handle it without breaking down because that's what real niggas do. He created the street code for the war in Chirac, and everybody followed his lead. And when men weren't capable of following his lead, he had no problem handling business himself. This led to earning a reputation where people twice his size feared him, and his name was spoken in whispers by his enemies like the boogeyman.
The only reason King Von was free, the witnesses came up dead a day before the trial.
King Von was arrested on July 24th, 2014 in the Inglewood neighborhood of Chicago in connection with a shooting that left one man dead and 2 others injured. He was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. He was placed in the Cook County Jail for about 3.5 years while awaiting trial because witnesses didn't cooperate and the case dragged on. During his time in jail, King Von adopted the name Grandson after an older man in prison said King Von reminded him of the founder of the Black Disciples Gang, David Barksdale. King Von loved that title and embraced it fully. This stretch in jail was very much like being in purgatory for Von. He said the days were long. He had all the time in the world to reflect as he sat waiting for the day he would learn whether he would beat the murder case against him. If he saw the streets again, would he return to claim his throne as the #1 reason Chicago became known as Chirac? After sitting still for more than 3 years in jail, King Von was acquitted of the murder and attempted murder charges because there were no witnesses and prosecutors could not prove he was responsible. Fresh out of jail in 2017, King Von quickly got back to the business of the streets because this is how he knew how to survive, and he needed to eat. Von liked getting money. So when his childhood friend rapper Lil Durk suggested that he step into the booth and record some songs, he decided to give it a shot. Once Lil Durk handed King Von the microphone, he quickly applied the same work ethic he did in the streets with the exact same results. He blew up. In just 2 short years, King Von laid raw and personal street stories over Chicago drill beats, producing hundreds of songs, filming more than 30 music videos, and creating a music catalog that made him immortal. King Von used storytelling as a form of entertainment, but those who knew him said he was telling real stories from his real life in his rap. This led to people becoming angry that he was glorifying violence and crime and teaching kids that it's cool and normal to kill. But the glorification of violence is literally what Chicago drill music is based on. Chicago fostered an environment where young black men were at a disadvantage, and Chicago drill music is just an amplification of that environment. King Von didn't create violent drill music, he just expressed it. But there's a difference between artistic expression and sadistic cruelty. King Von built his reputation not just through violence, but by mocking the dead in his music, taunting their families and forcing mothers to relive the loss of their sons while he celebrated his life and wealth on screen. King Von turned the names of murdered young men into catchphrases for the world to sing and repeat, and he got rich from it. This wasn't retaliation. This was demonic. How could a man be such a monster and then turn around and be a sweetheart too? It doesn't make any sense. But the truth is, even though most of King Von's music portrayed him as a robber and an assassin, there's also a softer side that he shows in most of his songs. He was actually a man who was filled with compassion, and you never think killers can care too. In his song 3 a.m., he does rob a man at gunpoint, but he does apologize to him and promises that he'll be all right the next day if he just walks it off. In his hit song, Fuck Yo Nigga, he's literally begging a woman to love him after he gets tired of being her side dude. This is clearly a man in emotional pain when he wrote, "Bitch, fuck your nigga. Ho, fuck his feelings. You say you stayin', see, ho, you trippin'. See, I'm a killer, but I got feelings. I catch you with 'em. I just might kill him." King Von is a provider man, as evidenced by his song Took Her to the O, when he states, "Just got some top from this stripper bitch. She from Kankakee. Just bought a Glock with a ruler clip. Boy, don't play with me. This bitch is a hoe, Met her at the stove. You know how it go. She wanna smoke, so I bought some dope and took her to the O. He providing dope for her. And in his song Crazy Story 3, he asks a woman to help him set up another man for a robbery. When she agrees, he's happy about it. And then after the incident, she disappears. He is clearly worried. And he says, I hope that she all right. She does end up being okay, but not for long. His success as a rapper is just another indication that his life wasn't shaped just by ambition, but by the tools that were handed to him. A man of excellence will excel at anything that's handed to them. So it really boils down to the tools our young men are introduced to. Imagine if King Von had been given a golf club or a science book instead of a weapon. With his drive, King Von might have even become a religious leader. Young Von was handed a tool, and with that tool, he became a gangster. And when Lil Durk handed him a new tool, a microphone, he used that tool just as skillfully and learned how to take care of his family legally. As a result, his income grew. And what did he do? He returned to his neighborhood O Block and began giving back. After moving to Atlanta to start his rap career, he returned to the block in 2019 to give out money, ice out friends with new chains and gifts, and give his friends a taste of how wonderful it is to be connected to street royalty. Yes, there were those who tore him down because he was the best gangster that he could be. But then there were those who knew him intimately and described a side of him that most people didn't get to see.
I don't care what Von did in the streets, that was a good nigga, like a real nigga, you know what I'm saying?
And then he lived what he lives. He rapped about he lived, but he was good hearted at the same time. So it's like authentic, genuine. You don't really get that.
King Von, a supposed savage, was really soft-hearted, even admitting that he was inspired to make moves just to gain the approval of women.
Life ain't shit without females. I was shit without the hoes on the block and shit. So why you getting fly? I wouldn't even be buying this shit. All this shit for girls and shit. I hope she think this raw. I hope she think this cute. I hope she this make I like me.
In a world where most people do the bare minimum, King Von always did the most. He operated in excellence at everything he did, as a gangster and then as a rapper. But just because he climbed out of the trenches, it doesn't erase what he took away. King Von's actions stripped away peace of mind for his entire community. He was a role model for a generation of young men who felt they had to participate in his street war or become a casualty. During his reign, many young men woke up every day wondering if it would be their last. But when you're a street king, the throne eventually turns into a target. King Von was murdered on November 6, 2020, in Atlanta, Georgia. There were so many reasons to love King Von and so many reasons to hate him. His fans grieved. His enemies celebrated. And then there were those in between who didn't know how they should feel about the whole thing. But if we can't take a moment to honor the life of our brother, then how are we any better? King Von lived a street life, fully. King Von died, tragically. And now, the judgment is upon him. Does King Von go to heaven or hell? The final judgment of King Von. We see the sins, the bodies, the robberies. He did wrong. He caused pain for sure. The judgment we give him for being the bad guy is a legacy he will always endure. Born with no guidance, no rescuer, just silence. We see the force of the blow, not the strength of the fist. What if the scale isn't tipped by the sins, but by the soldier who stood up when he could have flinched? What if the key to heaven is granted because of the authority you felt you deserved? Did you ask the world for permission, or was it already yours from birth? Powerful, unstoppable, a man who knew his worth. I know King Von is in heaven because he walked like a god on earth.